does have a participation limits of 1,000, and we can create event type of system that these are the panelists and these are the attendees, and we can there are multiple facilities added on, na? So I suppose the recording and all those features are also very good. So we just get on to the thing that we should start with this WebEx. Otherwise, earlier during the lockdown time, na, we were also on the Google Meet.
ओके
गूगल सूट पे ही सारा हो रहा था, गूगल मीट से ही कर रहे थे, गूगल क्लासरूम के साथ ऐड ऑन होकर, और उसी से ही सारा क्लास, लॉकडाउन में सारी क्लास गूगल मीट पे हुई है।
अच्छा अच्छा, तो हम उसी में यूज टू है, बट हो सकता है इसका फीचर्स अच्छे हो।
फीचर तो अच्छे हैं सर इसके,
तो
लेकिन इसकी बैंडविड्थ रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा है। एंड
हाँ, अभी भी मेरे पास ये मैसेज बार बार दिख रहा था कि बैंडविड्थ कुछ इश्यू आ रहा था, कि
हाँ,
अपना
इसकी
आवाज प्रॉब्लम
बैंडविड्थ
थी ना।
रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा है। गूगल मीट जो है बहुत लाइट पैकेज है, उसको बहुत लो बैंडविड्थ में भी चल जाता है, मोबाइल पे बहुत फ्रेंडली है गूगल मीट। तो रादर जो है गूगल मीट
हाँ हाँ,
मोर
मोबाइल पे।
गुड। मेरे ख्याल से बाकी सब स्ट्रक्चर्स के लिए गूगल मीट ज्यादा अच्छा है इनफैक्ट।
अच्छा अच्छा, हाँ, सौ से। और आप तो कांग्रेस डीन एकेडमिक एफेयर्स, जस्ट आई वाज आई नोटिस्ड इन योर मेल।
सर ये
इट्स
तो सब
ग्रेट।
क्या है ना कि एक टेम्परेरी फेज है अपने, तो सबसे बड़ा फेज तो केवल यही है अपना जो है पढ़ने पढ़ाने का।
हाँ, नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैटर करता है ना। So there are how many participants?
Approved participant list is around 145, and around 106
Oh,
are regular. So
that's good.
means जो है, and right now if I can see this, the participant list is 25. So this is the fourth day session. Means it is now we have
Okay,
crossed. This is the 12th session. सो एज यूजुअल
okay.
ना, वर्कशॉप के एंड आते आते पार्टिसिपेंट्स की थोड़ी गति धीमी होने लग जाती है। तो
That's right.
दिस इज क्लियरली विजिबल एज यू स्टार्ट, एंड एट अराउंड 4-10 o'clock ना यू विल सी द फुल हाउस एट दैट टाइम। So shall we start, sir, if
Okay,
you
okay.
permit? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
as you wish, I have no problem.
yeah. So dear participants, very good afternoon to one and all. Today we have with us Professor Jagdish Kumar, and I will not tell you in words what he is, but I truly surprise his ability and his capabilities in one words, that he is a true teacher. Whatsoever he do, whatsoever he does, he always keep in mind what my student want, and you will be seeing this reflection in this present lecture, and you will be seeing that how wonderfully I think most of us as a participant are teachers, and I really admire the qualities of the teaching quality of Professor Jagdish Kumar at a best. I have a short bibliography note of Dr. Jagdish Kumar with me, and I would like to just read it out. Dr. Jagdish Kumar received his BE degree with honors in electrical engineering from Jainar and Vyas University, Jodhpur. It is MBM Engineering College, very famous, prestigious college, in year 1994. The MTech degree in Control Engineering from IIT Delhi in year 2000, and the PhD degree in Electrical Engineering from IIT Roorkee in 2010. During my PhD time, we were having a simultaneously parallel on time, and we have quality time over there in Roorkee. He is currently a professor and head of Department of Electrical Engineering, Punjab Engineering College, PEC, Chandigarh, deemed to be university. He has a teaching experience of more than 26 years. His research interests include power electronic converters, multi-level converter topologies, and solar PV-based distributed generation. He is a fellow of Institution of Engineers, senior member IEEE, life member ISTE, a member of Board of Studies of some of the universities. He has guided 10 PhD students and more than 32 MTech students. He also served as an active reviewer for the IEEE transition on power electronics, IEEE transition of industrial electronics, transition of electrical energy systems, and the Journal of Electrical Power Component and Systems. He have published more than 70 international journal research articles, and definitely maximum of them are in SCI Pro list. And uh, he's actively involved in research and consultancy projects. But I can see his teaching abilities, his research abilities, and presently he's holding the post of head of department, is administrative responsibilities. Okay, so I'm really very happy to have Dr. Jagdish Kumar with us today, and I request you to kindly start his expert lecture of the day. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for your words of appreciation, Professor Palulia sir. So I think you have admired a lot. I'm not up to that, but I will try to my best what I can provide in today's lecture. So I think we should start. So my presentation is visible.
Yes, it is visible.
Now should I start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can.
Okay. So good afternoon to all participants, those who are attending this session. So I will discuss about multi-level inverters and their applications, because multi-level inverters have an application in power system, energy, and many other electric vehicles. So main focus of my present discussion will be to discuss about multi-level inverters, and once you understand the basic concepts, we can apply for any application in power engineering or electrical drives as required. So my presentation outline would be introduction, concept of a multi-level inverter. MLI stands for multi-level inverter. Then some topologies, and now in present past 10 to 12 years, lot of new topologies have emerged in particular M, because if we see different topologies, then there are always some merits and demerits of each topologies, and effort is made to reduce number of switches, number of DC sources, and simultaneously to get the number of more levels, so that the THD content is minimized or reduced. I will show some PPTs on new topologies, then how it can be implemented for photovoltaic applications. And because in photovoltaic system we are having separate DC sources, so they can be synthesized or integrated to generate output AC voltage. Then how to turn on and turn off switches, at what angle particular unit should be turned on and at particular angle turned off. That also matters, because switching schemes or switching pattern decides the output voltage waveform, and output voltage waveform will give you the THD contents. If it is nearer to sinusoidal, then obviously THD is less. And then if time permits, we will discuss about control techniques, and one more unit as STATCOM. So now if we see basically, so it is basically multi-level inverter. Sometimes it is called as multi-level converters. So there is little difference between inverter and converter. Converter is a common word, and inverter is basically when power flows from DC to AC. So inverter is a power electronic circuit which converts DC voltage into AC voltage. I think all of you might be knowing about this concept. There is nothing new here. But what about the different types of inverters? That is DC to AC converter. So if you see that we are having classical structure of inverters where number of levels are less. So our output voltage is square wave or it is quasi square wave, and then multi-pulse where number of pulses are more, and multi-level inverters. So basic or primary objective for going for different type of topology is basically to reduce THD content and some other advantages. If you see the basic structure, very basic circuit, that is known as H-bridge, or if you see from power electronics point of view, it is basically single phase full bridge inverter. So input side is DC and output is we get AC. There are basically 4 switches. If it is the single phase unit, if it is 3-phase unit, then we can generate or synthesize 3-phase supply using 3 individual units, or so that will require 12 devices. But if we use another topology where only 6 switches will produce 3-phase output, so it depends what we want, what is our requirement. But basically we go for the 6 switches for 3-phase circuit. And again, there are 2 types of conduction mode, 180-degree and 120-degree conduction mode. So I will not discuss that part here. But here what I want to tell is how we generate multi-levels. So if S1 and S4 are turned on simultaneously, output voltage will be plus VDC. S2, S3 will generate minus VDC. So this is basically 2 levels. So what we do, we count from top, this is positive, then negative. So there are basically 2 levels. If some upper 2 switches or lower 2 switches are turned on simultaneously for some duration, you can say S1, S2 or S3, S4, then obviously output voltage will be 0. So this is 3 level. 3 level means what? 0, positive VDC and minus VDC. So this way we define the number of levels. And if we compare these 2 waveforms, 2 level and 3 levels, obviously the THD content of this 3 level is less as compared to 2 level. The reason is because my ideal requirement is sinusoidal output voltage. So if you see in sinusoidal, at 0, at pi, 2 pi, voltage is 0. So in 3 level also, near about pi, we are having 0 voltage. So otherwise its exact analysis is done using Fourier analysis. So if we go for the Fourier analysis of these 2 waveforms, definitely we will get less THD for 3 level inverter. So, another issues with 2-3 level inverters, the output voltage contains large amount of harmonic distortion. You might have studied at UZ level. For square wave, THD is very large. It is somewhere around 48%. So that type of supply can't be used for the load directly. So what we do, we go for pulse width modulation. There are different techniques of modulation. So THD is reduced. So for PWM techniques, we have to turn on and turn off devices many times in a fundamental cycle. So due to more number of turning on and turning off, obviously there are more switching losses. So for high power applications, if we go for the PWM techniques, it will produce high switching losses, more stress on the devices, and obviously efficiency of the circuit will go down. So either we go for the PWM techniques, or another option which we have is if we operate our switches at fundamental frequency, but more number of levels. More number of levels means more steps in positive cycle as well as negative cycle. So obviously when we are having more steps and we try to synthesize this waveform near to sinusoidal waveform, so THD can be reduced. So this is the advantage where for high power applications, what we can do, we go for the fundamental frequency switching and the switching losses are reduced and we get reduce THD output voltage waveform. So problem with again it is continuous. I have already high dV by dt because for 2 level or 3 level voltage, when switch is on voltage is 0, when switch is off voltage across the switch is maximum. So when the switch is turned on and turned off, the change in voltage is very high for 2-3 level inverter. But if you go for the multi-level inverter, obviously the voltage for particular switch is not the supply voltage. So this way dV by dt is less, and obviously that will produce less electromagnetic interferences, and efficiency will also improve because switching losses are reduced. Now if we go for the qualification of inverters, so multiples, what we discussed basically classical also falls in multiples, and another topology is multi-level. So multi-level topology is basically diode. These are basic topologies which were developed initially. Now there are many new topologies are coming up. So here we can see diode clamped, flying capacitors, and cascaded. If you go for the further classification of multi-level inverters, the diode clamped, flying capacitor, and hybrid. Hybrid means we go for the combination of these some of the diode clamped, flying capacitor, or cascaded we combine in particular fashion. But for diode clamped flying capacitor, we use only single DC source, and multiple DC sources are obtained by connecting capacitors. For multiple DC source based cascaded HDC inverter, where we require separate DC sources for each H bridge, or in hybrid, where voltage for the cascaded multi-level inverter, our voltages are equal, but in new topologies voltages may not be equal. We require different voltages, say in 1:2:4 ratio or 1:3:5 ratio. There are different configuration, and they are coming. If you see the literature, large number of research articles are coming with new topologies. So multiples inverter, I will not discuss in detail, just in 1 or 2 PPTs. This figure A shown left side is basically 3-phase inverter. It produces 6 pulses. Now what we do, as number of pulses increases, my THD goes down. So if you want to reduce THD, we combine or we integrate basic single pulse 6 pulse inverter by using this electromagnetic interference is nothing but it is a zigzag transformer, where we have to connect these single pulse 6 pulse inverter units with particular angle. If we keep 0 degree phase difference, then obviously it will produce same, only height will increase. So by combining using this zigzag type transformer, we can get multiples output. So in initial research work, if we see STATCOM also in many places, STATCOM, you might have heard the name. This is reactive power compensating device developed based on multipulse inverter. But the problem with this type of inverters, basically need of phase shifting transformer, because we have to integrate all these using this electromagnetic interference device, and that is nothing but a zigzag transformer. So obviously space required more complexity, and obviously cost also goes up. So another option or alternative to this is the multi-level inverters. Now see here I have shown T figures ABC. If you see, take one say ground or 0 ahead, 0 is shown as the reference point. So it can generate, and I have shown capacitors. So for reactive power compensation, capacitors can work, but for other application where active power transfer is required, we use DC sources. So please don't confuse with these capacitors and DC sources. We have to again devise a mechanism for charging of capacitors. So these capacitors act as DC sources. So in the A figure, if it is connected to upside with respect to 0% or reference, it will produce VA equals to VC, whatever voltage capacitor has. And when the switch is connected to lower side, it will produce 0. So it produces 0 and plus VC. If you see it in second, it can produce 2 VC if the switch is connected to top point VC, 2 VC, sorry. When it is connected with middle point, it is VC, and when it is the bottom point, it is 0. So this way it can produce 2 VC, VC and 0, 3 levels. Again, if midpoint is taken as the reference, then upper one will produce plus VC, down will produce minus VC, and center point will produce 0. So again, 3 levels can be generated. Either it is 2 VC, VC and 0, or VC, 0, minus VC. And last one is, if we split this input voltage into different sources or capacitors, you can see VC, VC, VC all, then n number of levels can be produced. So this is basic concept. So if we go for higher number of levels, obviously we require more number of DC sources for active power transfer, or we require capacitors if we use another topology. So you can check this way. Here it is shown as positive cycle of multi-level inverter output voltage. So 0 VDC, 2 VDC, 3 VDC and 4 VDC. If you produce similar type of negative cycle, then it becomes, you know, how many levels? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 0 is common. So basically it can produce 9 level, positive and negative both. So for what disadvantages we were having of the multi-pulse inverter, those demerits or disadvantages are overcome by using multi-level inverters. But you know, nothing is perfect. So obviously this type of inverters also has some demerits, which we will discuss later on. But here you can see synthesis of the high voltage without the need of series parallel connection of power devices. We can use individual switches. Otherwise, you might have studied about the series, some issues with series parallel combination of thyristors. So similarly, if we connect different switches in series parallel, there is always some mismatch. So we have to equalize. Some issues are there. So similarly, when we connect, because the need arises, if my voltage rating is very high, voltage supply source voltage is very high, and switch is not capable of withstanding that much of voltage, then what we do? We connect more number of switches in series. So obviously when switches are connected in series, they are not identical, so their characteristic differs by little amount, but yes, they will produce problems. So we have to make some provision. Similarly, if more current is required for the load, so we need to connect switches in parallel, because individual switch can't carry large amount of current. So it all depends on the current or voltage, or in fact is power requirement. Because these topologies, multi-level inverters, can be work on fundamental frequencies of switching losses or less, obviously. Small voltage available for H bridge or across individual switch. So obviously low dV by dt, hence low electromagnetic interference. And again, if we increase sufficient number of levels, so distortion in the output voltage also goes down. So this way, these are some of the merits. So if we see the classical topologies of multi-level inverters, somewhere it was developed in 80s. Diode clamped multi-level inverter. So if you see the literature, somewhere in 82 or 81 or 83 like. So they are basically classified into 3 categories: diode clamped, flying capacitors, and cascaded multi-level inverter. And as I discussed earlier also, there are some new topologies. So here I will show some PPTs of new topologies. Otherwise, basic concept waveform, if you go for the 31 level inverter, whether it is diode clamped or flying capacitor or cascaded or tube topology, my output voltage waveform is similar. Current goes back to the source side, and that phenomenon is known as feedback of these diodes are known as the feedback diodes. So if upper two switches are on, just get the voltage between point N and point A. What we do, we connect my load between A and N. So upper two switches on, it means what? With respect to N point, the voltage at point of A is basically VDC. So here it is giving VDC. If you see the middle figure, these two switches are on, it means my A point is connected with the neutral point, so it produces 0, and the right side third figure, it will produce minus VDC. So this way, plus VDC, 0 and minus. So the output voltage can be structured for 5 level by different combination of these switches. We can go for, again, if you see the my input voltage is, if voltage across each capacitor is VDC, then the output voltage is 4 VDC. But there is only one source having voltage 4 VDC. So if you see different switches, upper switches, SA1, SA2, lower switches, just we have used dash prime. So by this combination, we can, if all 4 upper switches are on, output voltage is 4 VDC. If all lower are on, output voltage is 0. Here my common point is taken as a midpoint. So similarly, if you use this type of combination one more, or if you get the voltage between VA and VB. So VA naught is this, what is shown here, positive cycle, and VB naught is the negative. So VAB is basically, if you get the VAB output voltage, it will produce positive and negative. So now we can check number of levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is the 9. But by increasing the size of the circuit, we can produce more number of levels. But you will see how many diodes are connected there. There are 2 types of basically diodes. One which is connected anti-parallel with the switch is basically known as feedback, and these diodes D1, D2, all these are known as clamping diodes. Then features of this DCMLI, if we go for the different applications, generally used for high voltage DC transmission, AC transmission line. Advantages, first part is basically application. It can be used for the static VR compensation, that is voltage volt ampere reactive compensation, basically reactive power compensation. Why we call it static? Because static is there is no rotating part. If you compare with the synchronous condenser, you know that this is synchronous motor, our excited synchronous motor. So there is a rotating part, but here there is no rotating parts. Therefore, we call them as static VR compensation. Advantages, but disadvantages, if you see the diagram, per circuit configuration, large number of diodes. So excessive clamping diodes are required when the number of inverter levels is high and difficult to perform real power flow control. Because we have to, if capacitors are there and if real power is flowing, so obviously there will be discharging. Obviously charging and discharging of capacitor will always take place in practical circuit, even if it is used for the reactive power compensations, because all devices are practical devices, there are always power losses. So we have to, and due to the loss, these switches, they will draw power from the source. So sometimes your C1 is in conduction, capacitor C1 is there, then C2, C3, C4, and they are even for different duration. So the voltage change across these capacitors will different, and accordingly we have to make some scheme or provision for charge or capacitor balance scheme, and this is the major issue in fact for this type of devices. Now next we go for the flying capacitors. Here instead of using diodes we use capacitors. Flying means input source is only one, but we charge the capacitors and they take the charge from the supply, so we call them as flying capacitors. Again, if you see structure wise, diodes have been replaced with the capacitors, so this way we can produce plus 0 minus, it is general structure. If you see here, capacitors are there, but input side supply is always single. The advantage of this circuit, that is a flying capacitor multi-level inverter, we are having more number of switch combinations for particular voltage level. If you go for this circuit for 4 VDC, we have to turn on all upper 4 switches, but for getting 3 VDC there are 4 different combination. If you can apply just the path, the way these switches are turned on. So if SA1, SA2, SA3 and SA1, we can get 3 VDC. So there are 4 different combinations. So this is the one of the advantages of the flying capacitor multi-level inverter or diode client. Redundant switches are there, so we can use, in case of fault in particular switch or some other issues, we can choose some particular combination for capacitor charging also. So phase redundancy are available for balancing the voltage levels of the capacitor. Real and reactive power flow can be controlled. A large number of capacitor enables, because we are using capacitors, so these capacitors store charge. So for very small duration, if there is electricity failure, they can provide backup for short duration. But again, if we see the disadvantages, there are many disadvantages, especially large number of capacitors are required. So charging of these capacitors a little bit difficult job, and we have to develop control system accordingly. Now we come to CMLI. This is cascaded multi-level inverter. This is more or most commonly used multi-level inverters. Although it has some demerits also, but it has, if you see the configuration, it doesn't require clamping diodes and flying capacitors. So for reactive power compensation, we can use simple capacitors and it can work. But here, yes, but the point is we require separate sources. For reactive power compensation, we can use capacitors and they can be control scheme can be developed for charging of these capacitors. But for real power transfer, we require DC sources. So here we can go for the application of renewable sources, say solar, photovoltaic, fuel cell, where we are having discrete DC sources. The requirement of separate DC sources for CMLI matches with solar, photovoltaic and fuel cell. The batteries can be used also to generate. Using a small voltage size battery, we can generate large voltage by connecting. So again, we can check. I started with this part, H bridge. This is H bridge. So these two switches will produce plus, upper or lower will produce 0, and diagonally opposite will produce negative. So this way we can generate 3 level output. This is general structure. So here what do you observe? It is very popular topology basically. But the problem is what? If you see, we require, this is 3-phase structure and we require separate DC sources, separate and isolated DC sources. So this is the major limitation. But if we are having separate DC sources or discrete DC sources we can generate. High output voltage using small size voltage sources. Here the basic concept for generating step waveform is what we do, we keep this duration or pulse width of different edge bridges of different size. If pulse width, that is positive cycle, and negative cycle width is kept same for all edge bridges, we will produce simply 2 level or 3 level output. But yes, if you see, first H1 is only this width, for second is, third and fourth. Now if all these are cascaded, means what? They are connected in series. So if you add all 4 upper waveforms, you will get this type of waveform given at the bottom. Yes. So this way we generate stepped output waveform. Now what should be the width of positive cycle, as well as because this is symmetrical, so positive and negative cycles width similar exactly, otherwise it will produce odd even harmonics. There are some average voltage will not be zero. So always positive and negative both are kept same width. By connecting them we can get stepped waveform. Now what should be this width for H1 bridge, H2 bridge, H3 bridge, H4 bridge? So again I will discuss in separately for during switching scheme slides. So if we choose properly these angles or width of these positive and negative pulses, we can reduce THD also. Otherwise, for random width there will be different THD. If we increase or decrease, obviously what is required, if you see the last waveform, requirement is this waveform should be nearer to sinusoidal. So we have to ensure that. These are the sum of advantages require the least number of components. If we compare all these topologies, the number of switches same for all 3 topologies. DC sources, single source for this flying capacitor diode clamped, but here we require different separate DC sources. But here we don't require flying capacitors or clamping diodes. So this way we can generate the series of edge bridges versus modularized output. The structure is modular. All edge bridges and they can be connected in series, and each edge bridge consists or has separate DC source. So obviously packaging, all these issues are not there. So this is in fact third point of the advantages. It can be demerit also, but yes, if we are having these wind generators, this photovoltaic arrays, fuel cells, then we can integrate. So this can be taken as advantage if we are using discrete DC sources available. And demerit, yes, if for a given single source supply, output voltage production of high level is not possible because we require separate. So now comparison, if we go for the different what we discussed previous, basic topology, fundamental topologies are these 3. So for active power and reactive power, UPFC and there are IPFC, there are different types of these fax devices also. So in fax devices we can use these inverters. Basically, fax devices we always require voltage or current source inverter. So we can choose any one of these topologies, but yes, its suitability matters. If we compare from components, so DCMLI and this, so mains switching devices, you can check where L is the number of levels. Main diodes, main switching devices, and main diodes means what? The diodes which are connected anti-parallel to the switches. Clamping diodes, DC bus capacitors, and balancing capacitors. If you see the CMLI, we require these capacitors are basically nothing but voltage sources. Otherwise, no clamping diodes, no balancing capacitors. So as I discussed in previous part also, main demerit of this multi-level inverter is requirement of separate DC sources. Now if you go for the new topologies, the problem with you got in multi-level whether it is cascaded, flying capacitor or diode clamped, we require large number of devices for the given number of levels. Additionally, for cascaded, we require separate DC sources. For DC MLI and FC MLI, we require clamping diodes and capacitors. So in any way, we are having some demerit of all these fundamental multi-level inverter topologies. So obviously, need the research is always there and it should be there. So some of the new topologies invented, and if you see the previous 10 to 12 years research papers, lot of new topologies are coming, and the main objective is to reduce the number of switches, number of passive components, and number of sources with more number of levels. So with this aim or with this objective, new topologies are coming. Another aspects, if we are using unequal DC sources for then again we should be able to integrate. For in the case of cascaded multi-level inverter, we require equal sources. So due to demerits and more requirement, basic our aim is to produce large number of levels with minimum number of voltage sources and switches. So obviously now we have developed many new topologies, but again there are some demerits. In starting I told that nothing is perfect, always there is some problem. If we try to address particular issue, obviously new issues generate, but again what we do, we compare, and what is the better or best among all, we choose that. So if we go for this hybrid topologies or new topologies, then different device ratings, high voltage stage, we will see, and the voltage, blocking voltage across different devices will be different when we go for this asymmetrical topology. But here's total number of devices are less and redundant switching states can be obtained. So this is one topology. Now there is no systematic or no modularity here, but yes, this side H bridge is again there, but input 2 voltage sources and it can produce even 7 level or more. This is another topology. If you require, I will provide you these PPTs, and again in the there are many review papers also, the switching stage tables and these topologies are given. Again, this is developed cascaded shell, modified 7 level, novel. Yes, I will discuss one topology, and this was developed by my student, PhD student, and he got a publication in also IIT Power Electronics. So here you can see basic unit, but again it is not a modular topology. There are 2 voltage sources V1 and V2, and in fact they are not equal, either they are in 1:2:2 ratio, 1:2:4 or 1:3:5 binary and trinary configuration. So if you see this, if we want V1 plus V2, now if suppose V1 is VDC and V2 is 2 VDC, so maximum voltage, positive voltage can be 3 VDC and negative minus 3 VDC, and in between we can produce all voltages. But yes, it is VDC, 2 VDC, 3 VDC. Suppose we use VDC and 3 VDC, so obviously we can produce 4 VDC. It all depends. Now if you go for the state 1 means what? Switches 1, 4 and 5 on. So you can check here 1, 4 and 5. What will be the output voltage? The V0, 1 is on, 5 is on and 4 is on. So what will be the output voltage? It will be V1 plus V2, because S4 connects positive negative points, S3 is off, so S1 connects the positive terminal of load, and S5 connects negative side. Using this table, it is very straightforward. I think I will not go into detail, but you can check. So we have to devise, or we have to design switching scheme this way, so that first state when switches S1, S4, S5 on, then S1, S4, S6 on, this V1, then when we require 0 voltage, it should be S2, S4 and S6 on. Similarly for getting negative voltages. This is for 15 level. So here you can imagine that using this 2 voltage sources, we can generate 7. And if we use this scheme, this is nothing but extension of this previous one. Here what we have done, we have connected one more DC source in between. Now there are 3 DC sources, V1, V2 and V3. But yes, it can produce 15 level. But if you go for the cascaded multi-level inverter for generating 15 levels, because each H bridge generate 3 level, but other H bridges, because 3 means what? 0 is common. So if we connect 2 H bridges, then their output voltage level will be 5, not 6, because 0 is common. If we use 3 H bridges, 7. So for generating 15 level, we require 7 H bridges. 7 means how many devices? In 1 H bridge, 4 devices. So it will be 28. But here you can check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 devices. And how many sources? Only 3. Whereas for CMLI, we require 7 DC sources. So this topology has that advantage. But again, the problem is V1, V2 and V3 are not equal, one thing. And if we require for the reactive power compensations, we can connect capacitors, and we have to maintain the capacitor voltage. Suppose it is 1, 3 and 5 ratio. Suppose it is VDC, 3 VDC and 5 DC. So we have to maintain that voltage. So that is again a big challenge. But yes, with reduced number of switches and DC sources, we can produce more number of levels. Again, this table gives for 15 level inverter all possible combination. It can generate 15 levels. It is general structure. Now basic was this 7. Then if you use its extended version, then it can generate 15. And if you further increase the number of sources, then the voltage, number of levels in output voltage will multiply by large amount. So for this we can use, and we use number of sources, so switches required. It has also some systematic approach, or we can generate, or we can design the number of switches, output voltage, number of steps, everything can be decided using these relations. If you use n number of sources, we can generate 2 raised to power n plus 1 minus 1 steps. Switches require 2n plus 2. So for 15 level, n is, we require 3 sources, so n is 3. So number of switches, you can go 3 into 2, 6 plus 8. And output voltage accordingly and steps. If n is 3, then 2 raised to power 4 minus 1. So 16 minus 1 is 15. So if you see this 15 level, there are 8 switches. So this way, there are systematic approach. If you compare, there are large number of topologies. So if you see the comparisons, so NPC and flying capacitor, you can check how many capacitors are required. Flying capacitor and clamping diodes, simply for 31 level. But yes, these T1, T3, T4, T5, all these are the different topologies recently developed. You can check here, we don't require these two. And all other components are also less in number. If you want to integrate with the solar photovoltaic application, so what we do, I have shown here, one of my PhD students basically developed hardware also. The solar PV, we can generate number of panels in series and parallel as per current and voltage requirement. But yes, by connecting particular combination, we can get particular voltage. If we increase the number of panels in series, we can get another. But again, we have to maintain that voltage at constant level. Suppose it is VDC, 3 VDC, 5 VDC. And you know, for solar voltaic application, solar photovoltaic application, there is variation due to, you know, sun energy changes with time or some due to atmospheric condition. So we have to maintain that voltage constant, and that can be done by using DC to DC converter. There are different types of DC to DC converters, buck boost converters, and there are in fact more number of configuration available. So here we can use DC to DC converter. So by changing its duty cycle, we can maintain voltage level at desired value. And again, multi-level inverter. Here we can generate, we can use cascaded multi-level inverter or these different newly developed topologies. And output load, all these topologies basically work for inductive load also. Again, we see with MATLAB, it is the closed loop operation. We use current and voltage sensors, and again there we have to implement MPPT, maximum power point tracking method to extract maximum power available. So this way it can be integrated. I'm just showing this one PPT, but yes, DC to DC converter is always required. It can be stepped up, stepped down, but generally we have to change the voltage. So it is buck boost type converter is used. And now I come to just discussion short. The modulation techniques means how to turn on and turn off the switches. This is very, very important part. If you have seen, if there are 3 H bridges, at what point or at what angle or at what instant we should turn on that particular combination of devices, S1, S4, then S2, S3, like this way. Okay, so there are different types of low switching frequency and high switching frequency. There are different combinations. Now come to this point, I again repeat this H please, and you have to understand. This is alpha, pi minus alpha. So this is my switching. We have to issue firing pulses in this fashion, and where alpha is my angle. So by varying alpha, we can change the width of this positive pulse of output voltage as well as the negative pulse of output voltage. So by varying this alpha, we can change the width. And if you see initially, if I use 4 such H bridges, then there will be different alphas for 4. Otherwise, if alpha is common, there will be only 3 level output. So for generating a state, this is 11 level. Yes, you check this waveform. I have taken 11 level voltage waveform. So alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4, alpha 5. Now by selecting these angles properly, and these angles are nothing but at which we turn on and turn off the particular combination of devices of a particular H bridge. So these angles will decide the waveform, output voltage waveform, and it is sinusoidal. If it is smooth steps are there, it will be near to sinusoid. Otherwise, what we try to make nearer to sinusoidal. And that is the advantage. If we go for the higher number of levels, then the step size will be very small. So it will be somewhere nearer to sinusoidal. So what we do, we go for the Fourier analysis of this waveform. So if you go for the Fourier analysis of this waveform, fundamental voltage is given by this V5, V5, because if we go for the line voltage, then triplets are absent and even harmonics are due to the the symmetry of this waveform. Even harmonics are also absent. So non-triplet odd harmonics are there, but V5, if we choose alpha 1, alpha 2 like a particular way, then V5 can be reduced or it can be minimized. Similarly, there will be V7, V11. So we have to choose this. So how to choose these switches? So a very important technique is selective harmonic elimination technique, where fundamental first equation decides the output voltage, where M is the modulation index, and rest what we want to eliminate these harmonics. It is 5th, 7th, 11th, 13th. So this equation can be solved using Newton-Raphson or some other techniques. But the problem of this method is what? If we go for the higher number of levels, there will be more or large number of alphas. When large number of alphas, this equation, number of equation will be more, and again a solution is a little bit difficult. So there's also, if we calculate, are coming, and these equations are basically the transcendental equations. So multiple solution, no solution exists. This way the waveform is synthesized. Now again, just a study was carried out for different levels. So if you see the THD pattern for 7 level, 11 and 15 level. So THD, as number of levels increases, THD goes down. So I think I was now the another point is here, this is again nearest level control. First this was fundamental frequency again, but yes, it was selective harmonic elimination. But as I discussed, if we go for the large number of levels, then the solution of this equation becomes a very difficult task. So another technique is the nearest level control. For higher number of output voltage levels, we go for this nearest level control technique. Here what we do, we compare with the sinusoidal voltage waveform. If your voltage is more than VDC by 2, we go for the upper switch on, and if it is less, then we turn on the lower switches. So it produces 0, then this plus, this minus. So more number of levels, obviously THD will go down. So this is another modulation technique. Now if you want to go to control how to vary the output voltage, so there are again two techniques. One, if we vary the switching angles, if you see this equation, if alpha is M is varied, obviously we will solve these equations for different values of M, and by changing simply switching angles, we can get the variable output voltage. Finally, what is required? We want variable output voltage. So direct control scheme where we change the switching angles, and another scheme is where we can vary the DC voltage magnitude, VDC, and switching angles are kept constant where corresponding to minimum THD. So this way direct control scheme and indirect control scheme exist in the literature. So I think time, yes, Professor Palvalia ji, am I audible?
Second session, if you would like to continue for another 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay. So
and then we can have a session of queries for 10 minutes.
Okay, no issue. So I will go for 5 minutes more.
Okay, no issues.
Okay. So this way we can output voltage by varying these alphas. Output voltage can be varied by, if you know, for all applications we require variable output voltage. Suppose it is the V by F control for the induction motor. Obviously we have to vary the voltage. So these voltages can be varied. If you see this equation, either by varying VDC or by varying alphas. So if you vary VDC, it is the indirect control scheme, and by varying alphas, it is direct control scheme. I discussed about this this week. Here I am showing here for the STATCOM application. This PPT is basically, these PPTs are for STATCOM application. You know, static synchronous condenser. This is nothing but the basic concept of this. You know, the reactive power flows between two nodes, and it flows from high voltage to low voltage side. So if we vary the voltage, if this multi-level inverter is connected with the load center, that is point of common coupling through inductive element, then by varying the voltage with respect to the load voltage, if voltage of this multi-level inverter is higher than the load voltage, reactive power will flow from this inverter to load side. So voltage will go up. Basically, it is the injection of reactive power. If there is excess of reactive power in the system, output voltage of multi-level inverter, or sorry, any inverter, not multi-level, but its application of multi-level inverter is in the STATCOM also. So if voltage of this multi-level inverter is less than the load voltage, obviously power will flow from reactive power, sorry, will flow from load to source. So by varying output voltage of this inverter, we can exchange reactive power with the load or with the PCC. So this way reactive power compensation can be implemented, and in fact for reactive power compensation we don't require DC sources. Simply our capacitor will work as DC sources, because very small amount of power is lost, and that can be replenished with charging of the capacitors. So there are different two schemes. Here STATCOM, as I have already discussed, very important application. It has been implemented many places, and also during my research work also implemented this. Why we require reactive power control, I think no need to discuss. All of you know, or otherwise you might have gone through some literature. This is basic diagram. So the one application of this multi-level inverter is photovoltaic integration, sorry, and second we can use this as a STATCOM. Here it is nothing but multi-level inverter, voltage source inverter. It can be multipulse, but for this lecture we are more concentrated on multi-level. So the capacitor works as DC source, and reactive power can be exchanged between VC and VL. It can be connected in this way with the system. MATLAB simulation, in fact hardware implementation was also done. So by turning on and turning off these different types of loads, we can see the waveform. By maintaining proper compensating reactive power, you can see here voltage is almost kept at 1 per unit. There is slight deviation when there is change in the load. There is connection, disconnection, but again the voltage is restored at its desired value. But there are different control schemes. If you want, these are references. Yeah, so this is all from my side. If any doubt, please, any question, query, most welcome.
Yes, I request all the participants, if you have any queries, you can please type it in the chat box.
Yes.
Sir, if you can please see, there is one query.
Yeah, this is in chat box.
Yes, sir. What are the disadvantages on increasing level